A large, lonesome mansion seems like the perfect place for a channel called Abandoned World Explorer to do its thing, but they seem to miss the questionable red stain seen here at the 8-minute and 11-second mark as they tentatively test the floor to make sure they don't fall through. Most of the house looks run down, but they come across a creepy entrance that you will have to crouch down to get into. The passageway goes on for 3 full minutes until they find an even more foreboding staircase descending deeper. It looks like the steps could break away or something could reach out from below. The very bottom floor feels extremely off and wrong. He's poking around when something grabs his attention from behind.
Hello?
This odd area of the house personally gives me the feeling that someone was kept here away from the rest of the family, though I don't know why. He understandably leaves before he gets a chance to investigate what was possibly down there with him. One day, a man pulls up to a woman walking alongside her bicycle and asks if she needs help. She says no and indicates that she is living in the house nearby. Things have been strange ever since. The next day, the same man pulls all the way up her driveway and parks facing her house for a long time. He eventually backs away and drives off. The weird pattern of behavior continues for quite some time. Sometimes he would even drive by multiple times a day. Each incident was recorded by the home's CCTV system. Eventually, the man encounters her again and is told that she has a husband, but he does not give up. Now a different car shows up. Someone gets out and leaves a note asking if she would like to work for him, whatever that means. Instead of putting the note inside of the mailbox like a normal person, he spends a long time carefully hanging it from a nylon bag and stands around for almost 10 minutes before leaving. The first encounter happened in January, and the tapes stretch on well into the summer months. This man could have very well been obsessing about a woman who he had only met once or twice before. There's been no resolution as far as I know, and I'm not sure if the alleged stalking has ceased. At the Devil's Gate Dam, Kelsey Davies and her crew communicated with the ghost of a twisted individual who took many lives. As soon as they set up their devices, they start to get a reading.
Such a boob, I'm sorry. I love how we both moved back. Like, it turned green. I know.
Then, shortly after, they come into contact with Val.
Are you here with us? Can you cross the dowsing rods if you're here?
They ask if she's near.
The REM pods go off.
Later, they come across a lot of strange debris.
Is that a wallet? What? What is all this? Someone's backpack? Their comb? Oh no, this is a lunchbox.
Does this stuff belong to those who lost their lives at the hands of Val? They return late at night and confirm Val's presence.
Val, is that you?
And they are given a warning.
Oh my Oh my god. Oh my, right, it said leave. You said welcome to that flashed and it said leave, Joey. I have the chills.
I may be old school, but if the ghost of a life taker tells you to leave, I really think you should listen. A live streamer named Lothar is in the middle of playing Hearthstone when he suddenly starts acting out of sorts. If you pay close attention to his face, you can see that he is clearly feeling some discomfort. He takes his headset off and tries to regain control over himself, but to no avail. and his wife finds him there. She tries to get him to come to his senses. Here is a brief excerpt of the call. I don't speak the language, but common sense gives me some idea of what she is saying. Still, any translations are appreciated.
Nie, ale tak wyglądało. Myślałam, że się czymś... Słucham? Tak, ale myślałam, że się czymś zadławił.
In case anyone is wondering, Lothar spent about a week recovering, but this has not happened since. A popular YouTuber named Shark is brought to this allegedly haunted location after his friend had a ghost sighting here the last time he went exploring.
And this is Marco. This is the guy, you saw the ghost, right?
Yeah, but I saw the
You actually saw a ghost?
ghost, man.
You're not even kidding?
I'm dead serious.
Just kind of want to come here, see if we see anything paranormal, see if anything's going on, because right when he told me that, I was like, okay, we need to come.
They are approaching an old historic house when a mysterious figure is caught on camera in the courtyard.
Push, dude, that's not even moving.
No, it's moving.
Oh, yeah.
It's moving back and forth. No, it's moving.
Pushes
Zoom in
don't
on that.
move.
It's like,
I'm zoomed in all the way.
it's like swaying back and forth.
They argue whether or not the mysterious figure is alive, and then the object moves, so it's presumably a person. If this was a maintenance worker or a security guard, then they would probably have a flashlight, and they would also probably ask what's going on, not stand in place being as creepy as possible without making a sound, and what happens next is creepy beyond all explanation.
Bro, someone moved.
No. Wait, yo, she's actually moving.
It moved. Bro, it's gone, bro.
The mysterious figure seemingly disappears on camera, although when played in slow motion, it kind of looks like they simply stepped backwards out of the light and into the darkness. Still creepy either way.
Literally right here was where it was. Dude, what?
There's nothing there.
Was that literally just a random girl or something?
I don't know what it was. It looked like a
It kind of looked like it had long hair, so I think it may have been a girl.
A ghost girl, to be precise. I don't necessarily see long hair like he claims, but I'll take his word for it. And 1 minute later, they turn around to see the same shadowy figure now standing in the very place where they were at the beginning of this 3 a.m. video. I think this is probably a paranormal event and most likely a ghost sighting of a little girl like they claim. The ghostly shadow figure doesn't seem much taller than the railing that it's standing beside, and here's a scary moment you probably missed. Watch this window. At 4 minutes and 25 seconds the light is on, and as soon as they see the figure the light turns off by itself. It could be a timer, but it's a small detail that makes me think this is not planned and is in fact a paranormal event. Powerful Pancake is the name of a YouTuber who decides to ring his neighbor's doorbell and then run away. He hides around the side of the house just in time, but his friend behind the trash can is not so lucky. Powerful Pancake doubles back to grab his camera and the chase is on. As you can see here, the neighbor comes charging down the driveway with the bat over his head, ready for who knows what. They barely make it to their car in time and speed off. I think this video is probably real because they seem to actually be full of adrenaline, and that is not easy to fake. But I'd like to get your opinion. Number 10. Two YouTubers see a suspicious red balloon tied around the grate of an old sewer tunnel and start to explore. It isn't long before their flashlight shines upon someone standing rigidly before them.
No freaking... No! Go!
The sewer lurker chases them down the entire length of the tunnel at full speed, and they barely make it out alive. Listen to this part and tell me if you think the fear in their voices sounds real, because it does to me.
Oh, Franco! Get out!
I hit my head.
Who or what that was remains a mystery. There's been no update made since this video was uploaded. Do you have the cojones to dance with the devil? Published by Devil's Hours Production in May of 2021, this scary video sees one paranormal investigator playing around with Beelzebub. Originally filmed in March of 2013, the crew gets a spike on the millimeter after one of them asks the spirits to make their presence known.
Can you make your presence known?
Just so you know, Matt, we're getting a 0.1 spike on the millimeter right now.
As they continue onward, the meter rises and rises and rises some more. When they specifically ask the spirit to raise the meter, it does.
0.1, 1.2, 1.3.
Is that you? Speak into this device right here. I heard another one. Is that you? Speak into this device right here. I heard another voice. Oh, that could have been a car. Hold on.
They continue walking when they suddenly hear a girl giggling. The girl remains with them, and she makes her presence known.
Spot on here.
7.6.
I just heard a little girl.
0.6.
You go up to that antenna right now, and you touch it. It will go off, and that's how we can know that it's you.
The pair capture the creepy image on camera. It looks very much like a small girl, and later they hear a demonic hissing noise. Is this the soul of a little girl? Or is it the devil pretending? Sometimes ghosts are just forewarning you about what's around the corner. YouTuber Paranormal Voyages shares this freaky short in which he's speaking to a spirit through a spirit box.
I just seen a shadow.
What was that? Was that you? Whoa!
The spirit literally tells him the bat's in, and a moment later,
Whoa!
well, the bat's in. It feels pretty hard to be a skeptic after that series of events. A Facebook user named Andrea Collins believes one of her security cameras caught a ghost late in the afternoon on March 22nd of this year. And after taking a look at the evidence for myself, I think she's right. Ordinarily, I would say that this is a bug crawling across the camera, except in this case, it looks like a little ghost girl with a white dress and long black hair. It's also positioned perfectly in the middle of the screen, exactly where a human would stand. So my bet is that this is an apparition seeking help, or at least some attention. And if this is what Andrea sees in her yard, then chances are her house is haunted too. What lurks in your alley in the middle of the night? This video may surprise you. Published to YouTube by Tasklock in March of 2021, the security footage was recorded on the 30th of December 2020 at around 4 in the morning. An empty road with a few motorcycles and bicycles parked along each side, still in the darkness, at least for the moment. Suddenly, someone invisible decides to take this bike out for a spin. The motorcycle abruptly pulls out into the road, turning in place. At one point, it slows in its turning, then jerks forward and continues in its path before falling over on the side in the middle of the road. Could this just be something mechanical malfunctioning in the bike? Or did a ghost realize he didn't have enough momentum mid-launch? Afnan Arash is plagued by paranormal activity wherever he goes, and now not even his home offers respite from the constant hauntings. Even though we don't speak the same language, I can still feel the anger and desperation in his voice as he demands for the ghost to leave him be.
Tak habis mengganggu hidup aku. Hah? Mana?
Afnan stares in disbelief at the table of broken plates. It's hard to tell if he threw a rock or something to break the plates himself or if a poltergeist did it. The right half of the table is not on camera, which makes me suspicious because that's also probably his throwing arm. However, he sounds so genuinely terrified that I think this video is paranormal. Two friends are walking around the haunted Matlock Cemetery in Iowa when they see something possibly watching them from afar, a white head that's barely visible behind a tree.
This is scary.
Did you see that?
Oh my god. What?
Did you see that?
What was that?
They aren't sure what it is until they go up to the tree. It was behind and get a closer look, or should I say it gets a closer look at them.
Oh my god. What was that? Oh!
Here it is again, a man wearing baggy clothes and a possibly white mask, though his face is too blurry to tell. I don't know if this was a maintenance worker, one of their friends, or a genuine creeper looking to do them harm, but I do think they made the right choice getting out of there, and I hope for their sakes they never went back. This Area 51 video appears to capture no less than 5 bright lights traveling in a tight cluster. It kind of looks like the government could be testing military-grade flares at first, until the lights mysteriously stop in midair, hover for a bit, and then move in the exact opposite direction. These sophisticated flight patterns seem to suggest that they are piloted by intelligent beings. At the 1 minute mark, all the lights grow intensely bright and almost meld into one solid form, at which point a smaller piece breaks off and moves upwards. This looks like no aircraft that has ever existed before, and as far as many are concerned, it can only be one of 2 options: a top secret government prototype, or else actual aliens. Some folks are good narrators getting carried away by their own storytelling. This one should have noticed how true her story was. This video was originally posted to TikTok by Briar May. In the video, Briar is telling a creepy story while sitting on her bed, as she describes how her stepsister used to wait under her bed and grab her ankles. The camera pans back to capture her bedroom door slamming closed at the most inopportune moment, heightening the fear of the horror story. But don't be distracted by the sound. Look under the bed. Her room is not empty after all. Is that Briar's stepsister, or are her ankles about to be grabbed by the true blue monster under the bed? This is a horror story come to life. I just hope everybody was alright. Published by LANH-TV New in March of 2022, and originally published by Knob Team Explore. This scary video reveals that the real haunting happens just out of sight. As the cameraman walks us through an abandoned structure, he rounds a corner where 2 bright lights are spotted blinking in the dark distance of the surrounding forest. What are they? He whistles and walks toward them. But before we can get to the bottom of that mystery, something starts rattling off to the left. The cameraman turns in the sound's direction, and he starts to approach the rattling. Rounding another corner, he finds that this door is the culprit. He calls out and then runs away.
Assalamualaikum.
Turning around, he captures this hanging from the rafters. It appears to be a small pair of legs. The rest of the figure's body remains out of sight. When he turns around and casts the camera back, the figure is no longer there. What is this horror? Something that's gonna stay with me for a long time, that's for sure. What is lurking in the mountains of Montana? Published by Smokey Robinson in September of 2021. He and his army buddy were outside Browning, Montana when they encountered this piece of work. What begins as a man starts to appear demonic. At the start of the clip, the figure is roaring unintelligibly.
Buddy! How you doing? Just some cruisers, man.
He appears to be shirtless and wearing jeans. The figure then starts crawling half deranged on the ground toward them. It crawls up a hill. The closer it gets, the more inhuman it looks. Just as the demon man reaches the road, the 2 men drive off in their pickup. Commenters are saying this is 100% demonic, and this creature gives them goosebumps. Some say the figure's face distorted and its appendages stretched as it started to crawl. Drex Ferguson writes, "This is the video I send people when they ask me to go camping, hiking, basically anything that involves woods." Some are calling it a zombie. Some are saying it's a human being taken over by something. What do you think it is?
It's crawling at me like a... What's up, dude?
A YouTuber named LaxRebel225 is playing a video game at home when he hears something loudly bust through the front door. He's frantically looking from room to room when finally he hears it making a racket again, this time from the kitchen. When he crosses into the kitchen, nothing is to be found. Instead, he hears it again from behind. I'm not sure why he stomps his foot here. If he's trying to scare the creature away, it doesn't work. Lax Rebel does a full circle around his home and ends up standing just outside of the kitchen again. He seems to get a bad feeling and hesitates. That's when this inhuman noise fills his house. The creature seems to say something in a chittering language that almost sounds like an evil laugh. Then it leaves his home, shutting the door behind itself. Maybe I'm just overthinking, but the alien's voice sounds very high quality, like way too good for the average YouTuber to edit into their video with home equipment. As much as I don't want to admit it, I think this video could be real based on the creepy laughter alone. Still, I'd definitely like to know what you think after watching this video. I'm especially looking for the opinions of people who have experience with audio engineering. Oftentimes, we see movements out of the corner of our eye, and we think we're imagining things. What if we aren't? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Kid Blast Double. This clip got Redditors up in arms. The video shows someone entering their backyard with their dog, but check out the fence beyond. A shadow figure can clearly be seen fleeting across the yard. It arrives behind the tree and doesn't move beyond. Apart from slightly peeking from around the tree, which can be seen on the close-up of the clip. The top comment was from Redditor Dads for Sons, who said he'd watched the clip on repeat a million times, and his first reaction was, "Whoa, the slow-mo gives him the chills," he says. In response, Redditor Paul VS88 points out that the OP, Big Pappy Thunder, said, "Honestly didn't think anyone would get it, or that it would somehow get nearly 7,000 upvotes, but here we are. Figured I'd bamboozle maybe 5 people, then take it down for a laugh." Redditors with a sense of humor had a laugh about it. Tactius Kilgore writes, "The shadow people have him and are in control of his Reddit account." There was one oddity in the video that was unedited, however, the thing peeking, but Thunder thinks that it was more likely a light from far away or from the yard behind than the shadow ghost that he'd edited into the footage. Still, this video will likely have you second guessing the next thing you see out of the corner of your eye. Skiers beware. Sometimes the snowbank is deeper than it appears. Posted to Instagram by Chris J. Fish. This GoPro video shows viewers what it's like to avalanche yourself. The skier is seen traveling over a snowy hill between 2 trees followed by some rocky crags. After overtaking the rocks, he immediately drops feet down into the snow. He is seen frantically trying to dig himself out. After what seems like an eternity, he spots a glimmer of sky above, as someone on the surface is also digging frantically to pull him to safety. Chris says this is the first time he's been completely buried. He writes in the comments, "I started to panic a bit as soon as I inhaled a whole bunch of snow. My entire throat and mouth were full and definitely had a bit in my lungs." He goes on to explain that his friend was staged nearby to rescue him if this happened, which anyone who's skiing across unknown territory should do. Did this scary event stop him from future skiing? Nope. He writes that as soon as his breathing returned, he was off again. Chris asked if we would include this PSA. He writes, "The rule to dropping from big cliffs into bottomless powder. Have someone close by to dig you out if you get buried." I'm thinking I'll stick to the bunny hill. A YouTuber in Belgium has a ghost in the window. And when I say in the window, I mean literally.
This is my window. Strange. Go away. What is it? Go away. Spirit.
He's not running his finger up the blinds because there's a heavy curtain in front of it. So tell me if you think a ghost is moving objects like he says.
No wind.
Considering this is the only paranormal video he has, and the rest of his channel is about nothing but guitars, I think it could be real. Some things are urban myth, then again some myths and legends have some basis in reality. Published to YouTube in June of 2007 by Heather Stone, the video shows Crybaby Bridge on Burroughs Road in Livonia, Georgia. Apparently there are several Crybaby Bridges in the state of Georgia. They're a thing of legend. This is one of those legends. Don't be fooled by the modern concrete bridge linking the county's two sides. The old iron bridge still stands alongside it, and that's where the haunting happens. The video shows a group of friends investigating the local legend. According to the video, the story goes that a new mother was riding home in a carriage with her newborn baby, and as they crossed the bridge, the horse became spooked. He jumped up, causing the carriage to tip over, and the occupants both lost their lives. From there, you might hear a baby cry, or haunting horse hooves on the road, or you might just see the woman in white searching for her baby over the bridge. When you come near her, she disappears. Will the group see any of this? You're about to find out. The group arrives on the bridge, exits the vehicle, and one of the girls screams the necessary words.
What? Go for it, Tiffany.
Yeah, sure, you can do it.
Feel your baby, lady!
A moment later, you can hear the car doors lock. The car alarm then goes off and sounds as though it's going haywire.
What?
What?
What's going on?
What are you talking about?
Oh my gosh. Oh, you are kidding.
God.
Oh my gosh.
They all clamber back into the vehicle, and as the driver is attempting to turn on the lights, you see the figure of a woman flash into view ahead on the bridge. Screaming ensues, lots of it.
Oh my god. Oh, turn on the lights. Turn on the lights. Turn on the lights.
Although there are plenty of naysayers in the comments, at least to attest to the validity of these girls' claims. Brandon Childs notes, I live over here by this. You get used to hearing screaming girls and sometimes guys in the middle of the night, but I do believe there's something about that bridge. Weird stuff, man. Weird is an understatement. A man on a train awakes to find someone staring at him in a weird way, a ghost in the window to be precise. The pale figure doesn't move, supposedly locking eyes with the passenger, who at this point is beyond creeped out, feels watched, and thinks this is some scary stuff to wake up to. When zoomed in, it could be the reflection of something inanimate, though of what I'm not so sure. Whatever it is, the transparent outline of a face is still visible nonetheless. If you still can't see it, look on the right side of the window and you'll see a weird face with a long, narrow nose and all black eyes pressed against the glass. I assume the person who caught this on camera takes this train often and has never seen anything like this before. So what could this strange sighting be? Will Wild's Outdoor Adventures is a YouTube channel focusing on interesting hikes through nature trails. This time, Will Wild is completely alone in the woods when he gets the feeling that he is being watched. His survival instincts tell him to pause and survey his surroundings, a decision that probably saves his life. Watch this part and tell me if you spotted anything before he zooms in, because I sure didn't.
There's a bear right there.
There's no doubt that he would have kept going straight into its clutches if he didn't think to zoom in first. It's standing dead center in the path and looking straight at him, so maybe if it was even waiting in ambush, he turns around instead, but that doesn't exactly mean he's safe yet. Bears are notoriously curious and will follow hikers for a long time, especially if they are protecting their territory. So now Will has to keep making noises to keep the bear at bay. He is absolutely terrified, but he has to sound as brave as he can as he backpedals down the narrow path while screaming, "Hey bear!" As you can see, there is tall vegetation on both sides, and he expects to be a goner at any moment from an unseen angle. Also, one false step could leave him with a twisted ankle, and a wild bear steadily approaching.
Bear spray out.
Hey there! The trail even widens into a clearing, and he can see that he is not being followed. I think he took the best course of action considering the circumstances, but let me know what you're supposed to do in that situation, and if he made any mistakes. This unexplained shadow was uploaded by a paranormal ghost hunter named K. Owen. I think it could just be a fast-moving insect, especially since this was recorded on a summer night in the South, but according to Kay, this is the spirit of a poltergeist in Kentucky who eventually went on to become quite destructive. If Kay's story is to be believed, then this unexplained shadow is the spirit of a person who took a woman's life in this camper years ago. The deranged paranormal entity would eventually go on to destroy the camper by burning it down just 2 weeks into the paranormal investigation. A YouTuber named Wokan Cha is on a mission to explore the most haunted places in Pakistan faster than anyone in the history of ghost hunting. Since August of 2019, he has investigated no less than 60 paranormal locations, but for time's sake, let's focus on these top 3 scariest ones. In September of 2019, he travels to a house possessed by demonic desert spirits called jinns. He takes a single step in the first room and already feels a cold presence warning him to stay away. Then the door across the room closes so slowly you have to watch the shine of his camera light to see it. When he fearlessly takes a few steps forward, a ghostly white arm reaches for the knob to shut it the rest of the way, at which point his flashlight turns itself off. The same door clatter loses again behind him. Someone's on the other side, but whether it's a ghost or a member of his crew is what I want to know. Also, what is he saying here to provoke such an angry response?
यहाँ कोई मौजूद है? क्या अपने होने का सबूत दे सकते हैं? अल्लाहु अकबर.
Nobody is on the other side of the door, at least no one that I can see, though I suppose someone could be ducking under the camera here to make it look that way. But that's when he sees it, the thing responsible for closing the door, a white apparition who glides away without a word. It's creepy for sure, but also questionable, because he sees the ghost and then enters the room looking the exact opposite way for some reason, which makes me think that they could have digitally added the ghost later. Next, he hears something so eerie and insane that it almost has to be edited. Let me know if you think it's legit, because if so, then this is pretty much proof of the supernatural. Voices, perhaps children, whose lives the jinn has snuffed. The ghost hunter understandably seems reluctant to go any further, and perhaps senses a great danger is near. As it turns out, he's right. No one seems to be inside of this room, but as he timidly rounds the corner, I think I see this gray figure in a cloak standing on the other side. The jinn itself, it's blurry, yes, but something nonetheless seems to be looking straight at him. The top arrow is its face, and the bottom its outstretched hand, palm up. He flees then and there, but on February 2nd of 2020, returns to the home for another look. I think they might be saying that something is on the roof here, but I need your help to translate and make sure.
ये देखें आपके सामने
Apparently, whatever it is, it's now in the room with them, so they step outside. They take a short breather, but as soon as they're back inside, the trouble starts once again.
ये गिरा हुआ ये अचानक ही गिरा है नीचे.
I'm pretty sure he's asking for confirmation of a ghost during this part, and soon he gets a response.
देखिए आप जो भी हैं मैं आपको नुकसान पहुंचाने यहाँ नहीं आया.
At which point this chain on a nail begins to sway back and forth for well over 10 seconds completely on its own. Doors slam shut, but Wokan Cha is determined to go further than before, and eventually he comes across a bizarre straw hut that fills him with unexplainable dread. The earth looks recently disturbed. Anything could be buried beneath the rubble. He's contemplating the structure when the spirits become restless.
Astaghfirullah.
Or maybe it's just a string tied to a tree. Either way, he seeks shelter in an area that's just as haunted as everywhere else, and soon he hears voices coming through the walls. At this point, you would think nothing could stop this fearless explorer. Doors slamming, groaning moans, and objects moving on their own aren't enough to make him leave, but the part that scares him the most is literally nothing at all. A presence that we can't see and only he can feel. Is this part real or just good acting?
अजीब सी कंडीशन है। अल्लाहु अकबर, अस्तगफिरुल्लाह, मुझे धक्का दीजिए किसी ने।
He turns around and looks at the corner as if something had just brushed by. Whatever touched him leaves him too scared to re-enter. I've saved the creepiest one of all for last, a paranormal adventure that takes place on October 23rd, 2019. That's when Wokun Cha travels to a site full of unmarked burials. Many of them are child-sized. It's a calm night and crickets chirp as he says a few words that I would like translated because they sound very somber and sorrowful.
अल्लाह ताला की मेहरबानी से मैं बिखरी ऐसे हूँ।
The stillness of the night is soon replaced by a rushing whisper that sounds lonely and paranormal, a rising cry of anguish possibly originating from the other side of life. As he reaches an old memorial, he hears another voice call out, a near laugh. And approximately 2 minutes later, the same voice laughing. His nervous fear is overpowered by a morbid curiosity to stay and see who the voice belongs to. I was halfway expecting a hand to bust forth from the earth, but what happens next is just as frightening.
Allahu Akbar, Astaghfirullah, Astaghfirullah. मेरे दोस्तों वो साया सा है मेरे दोस्तों वो
He checks around the side of the building and sees nothing. He's all alone again, just himself in the graves. I wish Wokun Cha all the best, but at the same time really hopes he slows down to a safer rate of exploring. If he keeps this up, it's only a matter of time before something really bad happens to him. And at this rate, he might not even make it to his 100th video. A YouTuber named C. Codain is with a group of friends who are ready to explore an old creepy tunnel. They keep running out because they think they see something inside, but nothing shows up on camera until their fourth and final attempt. First, they hear it before they see it. It sounds a lot like the other rake videos in my opinion, but let me know what you hear.
What is that?
They remain at the mouth of the tunnel while the creature slowly walks towards them, making those sounds all the while. They clearly get the creature on video once and for all, but not without risking their lives first.
What?
The shrieking monster is all gray and stands upright like a human. It's hard to say whether this was their friend or an actual sewer mutant. Their reactions of excitement and disbelief sound real, at least compared to most other videos, so I'm inclined to believe this was an actual creature they spotted at random. A YouTuber named Exploring with Perks is checking out an old abandoned home with one of the creepiest basements he has ever seen. Possible remains rest outside of an old hole in the wall, with the rest of the body possibly on the other side. And later on, he finds the remnants of what I hope is just a stuffed animal. Then he gets out fast. I can't say I blame him. A YouTuber named Roy Flores has a strange encounter over the skies of New Jersey when he sees a mysterious aircraft hovering near the overpass he's driving on.
Look, the whole street is stopped. There's a flying spaceship.
And he's not the only one who sees it. Dozens of other cars have pulled over and people are getting out to take video of this strange phenomenon with their cameras, each wondering if this is the moment we finally made contact. A Goodyear blimp is the official explanation for this scary event, but I have serious doubts. I mean, you'd think all these people would know the difference between a blimp, which we've all seen, and something truly bizarre instead. A lot of people are saying this is a cover story for this strange sighting in the sky. Well, I think this design looks way too creepy to be some kind of company blimp. This pirate treasure was planted for YouTuber the Pucka Pucka's 6-year-old daughter. She was wanting some pocket money, so she reluctantly sent to clean out the old unused window box. Little did she know she would find a treasure map amongst the old brass, the YouTuber writes. The map leads to a secret room sealed upon her conception 7 years ago. While cleaning out the old window box, the young girl finds a load of old doorknobs and a secret map. The map shows that their house has a secret room. The father takes her into the hallway, tells her to place the map on the ground in the same orientation as the home, and asks her why they must go to find the secret room. They wind up in the girl's room. She says it would be weird if there was a hidden door in her own room. She starts pounding on the wall and notes that it sounds hard, not hollow. The father joins in and says it sounds hollow in one part of the wall. They decide to cut the wall, as there might be treasure and lots of money, like $150,000, so they could go to Disneyland. As the girl suggests, they cut open the wall and do in fact find the secret room. At first, the girl assumes there's nothing in it, but at the far end of the room, a small silver treasure chest sits. Inside are necklaces, jewelry, and doubloons. What a great way to send your child on an adventure. A YouTuber named You Want Sun catches an eerie moment on live TV when this news anchor has a problem unlike any I've seen. She sounds normal the entire time, but she starts blinking excessively, followed by this.
Is reporting a record turnout at this point. Nevada and Nebraska are also showing that Democrats are getting a jump on early voting. In Washington, I'm Susan Roberts. Ron and Mary.
Pause. And then look.
I've seen videos where both eyes change into a creepy off color before, but I've never seen a video where one eye stays the same and one eye does whatever this is. Also, they cut away from her as soon as it happens, which makes Yuwat's son wonder what exactly happened here. I think it's possible, but I'm not sure, so I'd like to get your thoughts. Was this a glitch or something way worse? What you don't know can't panic you, right? Posted to Reddit, the uploader, Jason Green 3 explains in the comments, on April 25th, 2013, at about 9:20 p.m. local time, an unknown object at low altitude flew directly across the Rafael Hernandez Airport runway in Aguadilla, Puerto Rico, causing a delayed departure of a commercial aircraft. Green continues on, explaining that this infrared video on the thermal imaging systems of the CPB DHC-8 aircraft was captured by US authorities. This video is reportedly obtained legitimately by an anonymous source. According to their information, the object, between 3 to 5 feet wide, was flying around various speeds between 40 and 120 miles per hour with an 80 mile per hour median speed. When it entered the water, its speed did not slow down or demonstrate obvious impact, traveling at a similar average speed as it had in the air. Upon entering the ocean, the object spilt, re-emerged for an instant, and then both pieces traveled at the same speed. The Redditor writes that there's no known origin for this object, and no clue as to what might travel at these speeds through air and water. At least one Redditor suggests it's a weather balloon, while most others accept that this is an unidentified flying device. What do you think this could be, and are you panicked? For months now, a YouTuber named Bogue731 has been receiving unwanted attention from a man who rides the same train as him every day. According to Bogue731, this person would repeatedly attempt to touch and otherwise harass him while riding on the train. He has tried to tell him to stop in the past.
I don't want to be friends. There's nothing you can do to convince me.
But why?
Because you make me uncomfortable.
But this man will not take the hint. One day, Bogue731 turns around, drops the politeness, and makes himself abundantly clear.
Stop following me. sit down and stop following me.
Eventually, a superintendent has to step in and take charge of the situation before it gets any worse.
Can you get him to stop following me, please?
Okay, somebody to get off train and somebody to stay on. Why are you following me?
I don't know.
She separates the two of them and leads Bogue to a different train cart so he can finish what's left of his ride in peace. Bogue is only there for a few seconds when he looks over and sees none other than his not-so-secret admirer staring him right in the face. Apparently, nothing he can say or do is going to convince this man to leave him alone anytime soon. Are You Being Followed? Published by Moosey in August of 2021, one subscriber to the channel claimed there was a paranormal forest near their house, so Moosey went to investigate. This is what happened. Using a paranormal filter on his camera, Moosey takes a few photos. He then goes home to develop them, or at least check them out on his laptop. He shows one of the photos of the paranormal forest without the filter. It looks completely normal, albeit a bit spooky. Note that there's no one in sight. However, the exact same landscape shot with the paranormal filter shows something different. Off to the right, a creepy and mysterious figure with dark hair and a white dress is standing in the brush. She is facing left and looking straight ahead. Another shot of the forest unfiltered again shows no one in sight, but apply the filter and the figure is there again, closer this time, and appears to be looking at Moosey. Although it's hard to tell, as her face is transparent, she looks as if half of her has been erased. Moosey believes this entity followed him home. If she did, what is she after? I'm guessing his soul. A Facebook user in Tlalnepantla, Mexico is walking down the street when he discovers a missing section of a wall and takes a look inside. The hollow dungeon-like area is filled with what appears to be stacks of caskets. Whether the caskets were filled or not is anyone's guess, but the point is, why would this area be sealed away underneath a highway overpass? Also, why was this section of wall broken? Maybe it broke from the inside by someone trying to free themselves. Who knows what other secrets could be hidden under there? As a parent, often you must keep your fear inside for the sake of your children. If you want to know how, take a master class from this dad, posted by Matt to World in February of 2016. The uploader writes in Spanish, a video that I took of a paranormal phenomenon that occurs in a neighborhood of Greater Buenos Aires. The video appears to show a father and son watching TV. The father apparently feels the urge to go check on something in the room next door. When he first looks in, apart from a strange sheet appearing to cover something in the middle of the floor, nothing seems abnormal. It also looks like two figures are asleep in opposite beds. He returns to his son, checks the bathroom and the kitchen, and swings back to the room where the light fixture is still swinging around. Then the sheet suddenly collapses. Apparently it was covering nothing. A nearby broom falls to the ground, and then someone in the bed moves. Somehow the father remains incredibly calm, as if this is an everyday occurrence, and from the sounds of it, it might be. In the comments, Matthew World suggests the man's calm reaction to the ghost was in order to not scare his son. Matt claims this is just one of the frightening anomalies that occurred to the family in this home. He also says they ended up moving, as they'd suffered enough. After seeing this single event, I don't think I'd stay in that house a moment longer. A small kayak is completely dwarfed by an enormous shark that's not too far away. The shark begins to turn towards the kayaker and make a pass at them, though it's unclear whether the shark was hungry or just curiously investigating its surroundings. Either way, the uploader of this video estimates the shark to be over 40 feet long based on the average size of a kayak. Sometimes being deep underwater can make objects look much bigger than they really are. However, here you can see that the shark is close enough to the surface for its fin to break the water, so its size is not being exaggerated at all. From what I understand, sharks don't usually come to the surface unless they see something of interest, so maybe it really was going to eat the kayaker. I'm not sure about the geographic location of this video, but it appears to have been taken from some sort of helicopter, perhaps one belonging to the National Coast Guard of whichever country is claiming these waters as its territory. Unfortunately, the video ends before we get to see the kayaker's fate. Of course, this uploader could just be skilled at video editing. Let me know what you make of this one. This next video, made to raise awareness, is supposed to replicate voices in your head. Among the many visual and audio delusions is one in particular that really gets to me, a girl with no eyes who appears at random. The girl with no eyes is apparently very common and reported by many. The following scene is an example of how she usually comes to them, or rather for them.
She is here.
Nowhere is safe from the girl with no eyes, because once she is in your mind, there's nowhere to hide. This is what it's supposed to be like when she finds you. No one knows why so many people have reported seeing the exact same figure. Maybe it's a subconscious manifestation of a common fear we all have. Or maybe it's some type of possession that's driving people to madness. If this video is just a simulation, then I can only imagine how terrifying the real thing must be face to face. An Xbox Kinect is probably the last thing that you would ever expect to use to capture a ghost, but that's what Keith Weldon apparently did on his channel called Weldon Paranormal. This ghost hunter received a call to investigate paranormal activity at an antique store in Rocklin, California, so he packed up his equipment and headed over. The owner of this shop believed that a spirit was attached to an antique piece of furniture. To find the ghost, they used a Kinect camera that's hooked up to a laptop using special ghost hunting software. The software uses the Kinect's motion sensing capabilities to detect and map out any invisible forms in the room. Nothing is happening at first, so after a while, they decide to play old music that's from the same time period as the haunted furniture. Sure enough, they capture a ghost apparently dancing behind them.
And then it has that figure over there and it looks like it's dancing again. Like literally like got rhythm and like, oh yeah.
When they turn the music off, they try to interact with the ghost some more.
She's shying away. Yeah. Oh my God.
It's holding your hand.
If this footage is real, then it could be the first time a true human-to-ghost interaction has ever been recorded. I don't understand the technology behind this equipment, so I can't say if it's real or fake, but if you're a ghost hunting expert and can verify this footage, then please let me know. Dennis and Tim of Nerve Paranormal return to the Atkinson Manor to see if there's anything they've missed their first time around. There certainly is something they've missed before, and it definitely does not miss them. They are first greeted by a stuffed animal that I don't think was there before. It looks much less dusty than the steps around it, and therefore was probably put there recently. Nerve Paranormal could have put that there themselves though, so even though it's creepy, it's also easily disproven. Less easy to disprove, however, is when they hear this commotion while holding a spirit box session. It sounds like something runs up the steps moments before the door opens, yet no one is there. When they return downstairs, they find this blue kid's chair, shown briefly at 3 minutes and 50 seconds, is now part of a neatly arranged circle at 17 minutes and 30 seconds. Just as they are wondering how the chairs got this way, they get their answer. This still frame, taken in a flash of his camera at 17 minutes and 44 seconds, shows the chairs 1 second before they pull away. You can see no strings running on the floor whatsoever. I don't see how this is possible unless they put magnets on the bottom of these chairs and slid them across the ground from one floor below, which requires 4 different people and a lot of effort. Instead of running away to somewhere safe, they stand their ground, which seems to make the ghost of the manor grow even more displeased. Then again, this object just so happens to be within kicking distance of the cameraman, so maybe he did it himself and then acted surprised. When Tim and Dennis decide to leave a minute later, they hear 4 footsteps and the doors open. This could be a spirit or it could be their friends. I think it could be real considering they eventually chose to escape off the roof and risk falling to get out of there. This drone footage was taken somewhere deep in the Salt Fork Park in Ohio. The video starts out ordinarily enough, but then sometime around the 5-minute mark, you might be able to see something hiding in the thickets. Watch the left side of your screen closely as the drone starts to land and pay close attention because it happens pretty fast. Many people claim they can see a large creature stop and look up as the drone passes by. Some even claim that this is a Bigfoot sighting in broad daylight. I do see what they are talking about, but I personally don't see any movement, and I think it could possibly be a tree. Let me know if you see it and if you agree. When Gulf of Mexico explorers venture deep below the sea, they may not have been expecting to get creeped out from what they found down there. The EV Nautilus was able to capture footage of a ghost shark, also called a chimera, near Grenada in the Caribbean. Ghost sharks are rarely seen, as they're usually too deep, anywhere from 8,500 feet to around 650 feet. For marine communities to capture on film, and this particular ghost shark was even rarer, as it had an eerie smile and was riddled with parasites. To capture this amount of creepiness on video, underwater is quite a feat. A team member said, "He looks like he's smiling. It's like a Joker smile." Don't know about you, but I'd cringe to be on the receiving end of this smile. In 2019, an allegedly real supernatural creature sighting video emerged from Sindh, Pakistan. According to villagers, this bizarre humanoid was caught entering houses and attempting to devour them. They all formed a group to chase it with sticks down the street into the night, while dodging blows at exactly 7 seconds. The creature looks to reveal a furry face with all red eyes. However, I think this looks like a mask worn by somebody pretending to be a monster. Maybe the villagers were making a fake video, or maybe in their mass panic they were really fooled into believing this monster existed. I'll keep an eye out for similar sightings around Pakistan, but I don't think I'll find many like this one because, well, it probably isn't real. If I'm wrong though, and plenty of people who've seen this video think that I am, then this creature sighting would be absolutely horrifying to have caught on camera. I wish they had a longer recording of the incident. A woman by the name of Cecilia Carasso in Chile strode past the reception desk at a law office in 2015 when she was attacked by something invisible. As you watch the CCTV video, Cecilia is strolling with a young woman towards the reception desk when she reportedly felt something push her with such force that it caused her to fall backwards hard. You can see Cecilia chatting with the woman and gesturing at something when suddenly, out of nowhere, she falls flat on her back. She doesn't just slip, she absolutely appears as though she was pushed. I wasn't aware of anyone in front of me as I passed the reception desk talking to a girl, and as I looked up towards the receptionist, I suddenly felt 2 pairs of hands shove me over, Cecilia said. She later added, "I hit the floor, and when I looked up, I couldn't see anybody, and I thought they must have run off." When Cecilia asked the receptionist who had pushed her, she was told that nobody had. Cecilia didn't believe the receptionist until she was shown footage of the incident. After seeing it, she was sure that she had been the victim of a ghost attack since there was absolutely nobody around her. Cecilia's doctors reported that her injuries were consistent with a fall, but that she'd also received a large blow to the head. which may have caused confusion about what she felt and about her injuries, but that doesn't explain what happened in this creepy CCTV footage. Okay, think of this scary video as a what would you do type situation. A woman named Letitia Patterson is walking back to her car when a strange man who is acting beyond creepy in my opinion begins to follow her. She lets him know that he's caught on camera, and the video gets more outrageous from there.
Hold on, I'm about to record you because if something happened to me, they gonna have you on camera.
That's right.
Somebody come get their family member.
That's right.
Following me.
I think capturing his weird behavior on tape is the right move, but showing him where she parked is not the safest decision. She could have walked away to get help, but I guess she felt like she was going to take control of the scary moment, and so she overcomes her fears and confronts the stranger, getting more bizarre video on camera for us to analyze.
Yep, bye. You're not getting in my car.
The strange man attempts to get her to laugh it off, playing off his aggression as harmless flirting, but he is not respecting her boundaries, which to me is beyond creepy, and a major warning sign that she should get away fast. He follows around her car for a bit, and then he's standing by her door when the creepy encounter takes another bizarre turn.
I don't even know you.
Hey, delete that camera. I'll grab that phone from you and break it.
Look.
Delete that on camera, please.
Well, can you get away from my car?
Yeah, but delete that recording.
I'll delete it as soon as I see you start walking that way.
But the mysterious man walks towards her instead, closer than ever as you can see at 1 minute and 27 seconds, and she realizes by now that he isn't going away, and that this scary moment could escalate if she doesn't get help.
Hey, y'all call 911. This guy just followed me around the store.
I think asking a stranger to call 911 was the right decision, because he could have taken the phone out of her hands if she stopped recording him. The camera is a good deterrent, and also she needs to continue to record evidence. Police investigators haven't found him yet as far as I know, but check this part out. I think he says his name here at 7 seconds. She's talking at the same time, but tell me if you can understand what he says.
They gonna have you on camera.
That's right.
Somebody come get their family member.
At least one other woman claims to have had a similar creepy experience with a scary stranger. So the evidence seems to suggest that he could be terrifying people just for fun. Freaky, right? A person is walking through the forest when a strong feeling of paranoia guides them to this moss-covered opening. They can sense something odd is near, but only when watching the video later do they realize how close it really was. A broad face with a wild flat nose and open mouth stares back at them. This is a troll caught on camera, says the internet, but the alleged troll sighting looks more like a natural formation in the bark, so I can't say that I agree. Tim Morozov, or Tim Frost in English, is a Russian YouTuber who goes into places that spirits want him to stay out of. This time he has his eyes on an entire village that's been evacuated due to the presence of something mysterious, something neither you nor I can see. He picks the creepiest, most haunted looking cabin of them all, and unlike most ghost hunters, sets up high quality lighting to catch every last detail. It isn't long before Tim Frost thinks he sees a mist floating before his very eyes, but to be honest, I don't see anything.
What?
That mirror, on the other hand, is hard to miss. Tim takes it off the wall and is busy inspecting it with what sounds like beads falling off a necklace hit the floor from behind. If this is fake, then someone must have climbed the cabin and poured something onto the roof to create this sound, but that still doesn't explain what happens next. A ghost brushes by and hits the microphone of his camera at 12 minutes and 3 seconds. The mic moves by itself and everything, or maybe Tim's just slightly shaking it to create the illusion of movement. Then his light short circuits, unless, that is, he hits the strobe effect and then turns it off himself. Tim Frost knows that he has to explore the entire cabin, and that includes the basement. He takes the freaky mirror down there with him and starts snapping pictures with an old Polaroid camera for evidence. That's when a brick falls near him. There's a good chance he placed it there himself, because this ledge is an odd place for a brick to just so happen to be perched upon. But right as I say, I notice an orb fly over the brick right as it falls. So now I'm back to thinking it could be real and paranormal. Tim Frost unfortunately gets chased out by locals before he can gather much more evidence. He returns on a different day and selects another cabin. This one happens to still have power, which is odd, but I guess the electrical company could have made a mistake and not switched it off yet. Anyway, at 3 minutes and 45 seconds, he records a strange flickering white light against the wall. It stays with him for more than a minute, but then, at 6 minutes and 10 seconds, it goes away, almost like it goes into the next room, and then this happens.
Блин, что-то голова раскалывается, на самом деле. На спичке вроде все в порядке.
Suddenly, the lights go out and Tim finds himself alone in the dark, or so he thinks.
Как упали тарелки.
He uses an EMF meter to track something moving around with him, and when he hones in on its exact position, his lights start messing up. Also, an eerie mist is visible around his flashlight, but maybe it's dust. He follows the EMF meter up to an attic. His flashlight is flickering badly now, even though it was a solid beam only minutes before. What he hears next is not fake in my opinion. Too light to be a person, and yet all too near. In fact, it sounded like it was this door. But when he looks inside for himself, nothing is there. And get this, the flashlight of his camera is not the last of his lighting problems that night. When he set up his professional studio lights that he's never had a problem with before, they can't seem to stay on either. I would say that this was from faulty wiring with the cabin, but I think this light is running on its own battery and isn't plugged in at all. Is this the portal to the fiery depths below? The team from Proving Demons thinks so. In this scary video, they're screaming back in the screaming house. As they prepare to communicate with the spirits get there first.
I'm not ready for this, but let's just do it.
Oh, why is it starting? Why is it starting?
Do you know what I'm about to do? Do you actually know what I'm about to do?
The device was triggered and then a tap is heard, and now it's time for a scream with an Aztec whistle. In the distance, they hear something.
What the f? Sounds like the death whistle.
What's that?
That sounded like the death whistle. Are you recording?
Someone's outside. Someone's outside.
Stop. Are you recording?
Yes.
So it's not just playing.
Are the spirits screaming back? They switch places to see if they're hearing the same thing.
You blow on the top. Purse your lips around the top and blow into it with the megaphone in front of it.
On a recording device, they hear the spirit laughing.
Maniacal laughing.
Is it laughing at their games? To me, the retaliatory screaming following the whistle does sound like someone is screaming back, but this laughter is the most unsettling part of the investigation in my opinion. A user named Dolphin Treasure posted this on the Chills Narrator subreddit. After her dog Bandit started really freaking her out, Bandit keeps staring up and growling at something it perceives as a threat in an otherwise quiet, normal-looking room.
Bandit, what's bothering you?
There's a lot of memorabilia that could be bothering her dog, so one by one, she takes items off of her shelf to show. It's also worth noting that this dog has never behaved this way at any of these items on the shelf before, and was sitting peacefully in her lap moments before.
Is that who you're barking at? No? My gosh, dude, you are freaking me out.
After a while, she concludes it's nothing on the shelf, but rather something up higher, like on the ceiling. But there's nothing up there that I can see that would hold a small dog's attention for so long, especially with such steadfast conviction. This video was supposedly taken by a robotic camera while surveying an old oil tanker. A school of fish briefly swims in front of the camera, and suddenly one of the fish gets nailed by a spear in front of the camera. Something fast swims by to collect the fish shortly after. Many people believe that this video demonstrates the possibility of some kind of advanced sea creature who uses tools to hunt. After all, there's no reason for a person to be this far underwater hunting with a spear, and whatever moves in front of the camera is too fast to be a person. Of course, the obvious answer is CGI, but I would love to get your thoughts. The next time you look into your baby monitor, you might find an unnerving guardian angel. That's what happened to a friend of XXBlazinXX, who posted this clip to the Chills Narrator subreddit. The Redditor writes in the comments, "A friend of mine had recently put her child to bed, and she has gone through every single thought of how to justify this figure, but it looks like a little child walking in and around the crib. By the time log on the baby monitor, you can see it's around 9:40 p.m, and if you look closely, you'll catch a ghost white shadow figure walk around the back of the crib as the baby sleeps on. The figure creeps around one side of the crib before pacing back to the head of the crib and coming slightly around the other side. Then it moves back. At the end of the clip, it appears most visible, leaving its sential spot, probably in order to make itself a sandwich. What was this phantom caretaker doing? Do you think it's a friendly guardian, or does the babysitter have evil intent? Whatever the case, safeguard that baby. It's better to be safe than sorry." A YouTuber named Yvonne hears a noise coming from her kitchen and grabs her phone to record. After 15 seconds of silence, a cabinet door opens to let an item drop onto the counter.
Oh my god.
The obvious answer is that someone pulled a string to open it. However, the cabinet opens to the right and no one is on that side. I guess someone could have been directly underneath. But when Yvonne gets closer, you can see nobody is on the ground, so I'm not sure what to think. Luan Mendez is a YouTuber who is unafraid to put his life on the line in the name of a paranormal investigation, and as this video goes to show, ready to explore the scariest local legends he can find. One such legend revolves around a dismal force known only as La Señora Fantasma, or the Ghost Lady. The Ghost Lady is said to still roam the home she passed away in years ago. In life, she earned a reputation as a taker of lives and lived a wicked existence full of hatred until the very end. Her spirit is said to still reflect in the bathroom mirror. If you go in there and call upon her for an unholy visit, which is tonight's goal, they start by rather rudely calling her name outside of the property, hoping to get her to come through the window. She doesn't appear, so they step inside. The place has been stripped bare, but overall it looks somewhat inhabitable, at least as far as abandoned places go, but it's more about the way it feels than its aesthetics. Something about the small and cramped space that feels ill-fitting and all wrong, like nothing good has ever happened here, and only unimaginable horrors can befall anyone foolish enough to stay inside. They creep their way to the room where her legendary mirror hangs unblemished amidst the clutter. Luan stands alone while his friends keep watch. His tone is expectant and again, not very polite as he addresses the infamous Ghost Lady in more of a challenge than a request.
Aparece aqui, senhora. Vamos ver.
They are all about to leave, but they decide to try to turn on the shower just to see what happens. To their surprise, clean water drips out of a rusty pipe that shouldn't work and doesn't even have a shower head. This was probably where she hung what was left of the lives she took, upside down and filleted open to drain in the shower. Seeing this broken shower work again shortly after doubling her powers makes them rethink their situation and wonder if they should have taken a nicer tone. But that doesn't matter because it's too late now. They are walking towards the exit and everything seems much more negative and dreadful than the first time around, more of a feeling than anything else, as if a great evil has awoken and is spreading across the otherwise plain walls. And that's when she appears, not when Luan tells her to, nor in the mirror where she's supposed to be according to legend, but maybe that's the entire point. Her house, her rules. They hole up in the room for a while and discuss what to do, but the situation takes care of itself by the time they open the door. The lady seems to have proven her point that she is real and vanishes just as quickly as she came. This video would be easy enough to fake because realistically speaking, all they would need is for an older woman to stand in the doorway, which coincidentally is a lot easier to do than actually using special effects to get her into the mirror. For these reasons, I think this video might not be real, but that doesn't necessarily mean the legend itself isn't true, or that something else wasn't watching them from the shadows all along. Austin Jones is a YouTuber turned pop singer who got into a lot of trouble over his numerous improper online relations with fans under 18. It all started in 2015 when he confessed to frequently asking teenage girls to make dance videos for him.
I used to ask fans for twerking videos. It's not something that I'm proud of. It's not something that I think is right, and I shouldn't have done it.
The 16-minute apology video goes on to make some clarifications about the rumor.
Nothing ever went further than twerking videos. They were never.
The confession concludes with Austin Jones claiming to be a better person who has learned from his mistakes. 2 years later, however, he was arrested by Chicago police for pretty much the exact same thing, except it was even worse than we all thought. Multiple fans soon came forward and told authorities that Austin Jones had inappropriate interactions with them online. One girl said she made 25 videos for him, 8 of which were very mature in nature. Since then, police have searched his computer and charged him with 2 counts of producing underage materials. The case is still currently underway and the former pop star is confined to his home in the meantime. Unable to use the internet by court order, he has not uploaded in over a year.
January 21st, about 11 p.m. I'm a couple hundred feet from my house, and you hear it going off in the background right now. Kind of sounds weird.
A brave man hears sinister laughter near his house and rushes outside to investigate. The maniacal laughter is moving closer to where he is standing now. He stands by the streetlight rather than going any further into the darkness on his own. I was thinking that this could be a simple coyote, but then he says this.
If foxes and coyotes have been around here that long, why we wouldn't have heard them before? And all of a sudden, since November, things have been just going crazy around our community.
So apparently, foxes and coyotes have been around this area for a long time, and never have they made these kinds of noises before, meaning that this was probably something different. I also really want to know what he meant when he says that strange things have been happening in his community in November. This video was apparently taken on a reservation in Oregon, but if anyone knows which one, then please let me know so that I can do some further research. Anyway, things seem to be quieting down when all of a sudden shots are fired and an unearthly scream fills the night air. If this was not a fox or a coyote, then what could it possibly have been? The world's oceans hold both wonders and terrors. People got a glimpse of an example of such mysteries on November 11th, 2007, 7,800 feet down the Gulf of Mexico. The Perdido oil drilling site sent a camera down for a routine inspection when it caught something unexpected. A bizarre creature swam only a few feet away from the rig, sporting unfathomable features. By far the most eye-catching of them were its long tentacles tentacles reaching far down below its body. It almost appears to be looking right at the camera, staring and observing just as being observed. Many commenters have likened it to an alien, with some even joking it is an offspring of Cthulhu. The truth is, thankfully, more simple and far less scary. What was actually filmed is known as a big fin squid, a relatively newly discovered species. It was first documented in September 1988 off the coast of Brazil. Due to the depth at which it lives, sightings are rare, and there is still much about it left to be discovered. In fact, it is still unknown how these animals feed, but it is believed they use their long tentacles to drag against the seafloor to catch organisms to feed off. It is also believed they wait for small plankton to bump into them to eat. Such creatures make stories of sea monsters from folklore make much more sense. For centuries, the idea of the giant squid was a myth until it was proven as a real species, with larger, colossal squid also discovered. With an estimated 80% of the ocean left unexplored, there is bound to be thousands or millions more discoveries of all sorts of odd yet magnificent species out there. Do you have the common care to tame a snake? This shocking footage will make you question your own bravery. The video shows a man grabbing a thick snake with his bare hands. The snake looks around 10 feet long and arches toward the man when he pulls back. As the snake appears to be aggressive, the man holds up one arm. He is apparently trying to grab a hold of the snake close to its head, which he manages to do upon his second attempt. He takes the snake with both hands in a tight grip as it opens its mouth wide, baring its fangs. Then, as if with no care in the world, the man walks the snake over to some other workers, who pick up its tail and are taking photos with the beast. The footage ends there, but judging by this man's professionalism, I think we can safely guess the snake was properly removed to a more secure location. A YouTuber named Aeromax Music has to walk down the seedy hallway late at night, 6 days a week to get to his apartment. It always gives him a terribly dreadful feeling, so this time he records himself to feel a little safer. The entire time a neighbor is playing some creepy dance music that has a heartbeat and bass turned up loud enough to make the walls shake. You can't hear anything else. And that's precisely why this next part is so scary. Despite the loud music, a woman's frantic laughter is heard next to him in the empty hallway. At this exact moment, a visual disturbance appears in the bottom corner for only a few frames and disappears. Could this be his thumb? When he gets onto the elevator, the music stops and a weird noise can be heard. Is this a creaky gear or a disembodied moan? Basically, do you think these occurrences are all in his head, or is this a hallway that's truly haunted? Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.